everyone else. So hopefully everyone can still hear me. We'll be unmuting at the end for questions and things. So welcome to today's webinar on MTD. These are the areas that we're going to be covering today, which can be broadly split into two parts. I'll be covering the MTD updates and the sign-up process, and then Carl's going to be looking at how the process will work in practical terms. We've allocated some time at the end for questions, so please do use the chat facility throughout the webinar if you do have any questions. We'll try and go through these at the end. If we don't have time to cover all of them, we'll try and get back to you after the webinar. Okay, so introducing who is talking today. So I'm Emma Chesson, and I have been heading up the MTD initiative at Creston Reeves. This has involved reviewing the market for MTD bridging solutions to enable us to offer a solution to our clients where their own software is not compliant. After looking at various products, we've decided that Tax Systems AlphaBridge was the best fit for our clients. So we have Carl from Tax Systems with us today to give an overview of their solution.
Hi everyone, my name's Carl Everard. I'm one of the account managers at Tax Systems. Some of you may not have heard of Tax Systems before. You may have heard of AlphaTax. AlphaTax is our flagship corporate tax solution. We've been around in the market over 25 years now. So if you haven't heard of AlphaTax or aren't using AlphaTax, your advisors probably are. In terms of what we do, we produce compliance solutions. We submit over 140,000 computations every year to HMRC. So when MTD has come around, that really is where our expertise lie. Personally, I've been with the company for around 7 years now. My main focus over the last 12 to 18 months has been solely focused on MTD, helping our existing clients and new clients get up to speed with the requirements around MTD to make sure they're fully prepared ahead of the mandatory deadlines.
Carl, I think we've got a few people that are saying that they can't hear, although some others can. If you can't hear, then I think there's two options, aren't there, Carl? You can either go through the computer itself or actually dial in.
That's correct. If you can't hear and having any issues, the best option is to use the phone call option. So on the GoToMeeting tab on the right hand side, there will be an audio section. If you select the phone call option and dial in using your mobile or your landline, there'll be a telephone number to dial and also an access code. And as soon as you put in the access code, hopefully you'll be able to hear us okay. If anyone is still having issues, please do mention in the chat option, see if we can resolve those. But typically, if you use your phone and dial in on your phone, there shouldn't be any problems there.
Okay. So hopefully we'll catch up with everyone else that is signing in now. Okay. The timing has been far from perfect with Brexit on the horizon, which has fueled debate over whether this initiative should be delayed and has led to some businesses to stall their preparations. I've read this morning that over 1 million businesses are still to sign up. So in order to sign up for MTD, it will be your first VAT return period starting on or after the 1st of April 2019. If your business has taxable turnover over the VAT threshold of £85,000 and is not part of the deferral group. If you drop below the turnover threshold, but you've already enrolled in Making Tax Digital, then you'll continue in this regime, and you can still opt in voluntarily if you like. The deferral group has a 6-month extension to the 1st of October, and the deferral affects those who are in VAT groups and divisions, unincorporated charities, trusts, and annual accounting scheme users, amongst some others. It seems that some of the businesses that meet the criteria for the 6-month deferral have received letters from the Revenue with a mandation date of the 1st of April. If you're one of these and wish to take advantage of the deferral period, then you need to speak with the Revenue, and it's important that they have written to you to confirm that you are deferred. MTD is part of the government's wider plan to embrace the benefits of the digital age. It comes as part of a push for greater transparency in the tax system through improvements in the efficiency of tax collection and detecting tax evasion. It's estimated that £8 billion is lost through the rekeying of information, so by replacing this with digital links should reduce errors on VAT returns. MTD for VAT is the first step in this journey, and it's expected that other taxes will follow suit, although this has been delayed until after 2020 at the earliest. From April this year, VAT-registered businesses with turnover exceeding the £85,000 VAT threshold will be required to file VAT returns through Making Tax Digital compliant software and not via the current HMRC portal. Worryingly, in our business survey at the end of 2018, 47% of businesses did not know if their software that they used was MTD compliant, although 73% said that they would be ready, so hopefully this has moved on since then. MTD does not require to keep additional records of VAT, but to record them digitally. This includes, for each tax supply, the time of supply, i.e. the tax point, the value and the rate of VAT charged. It should also include information about your business, such as name, address, registration number, and details of any VAT accounting schemes used. So far, HMRC have already looked at personal tax accounts, which is a view of your taxpayer information all in one online place. So if you haven't already looked at this, then you should do. Most of you will be familiar with the current portal. This is going from your first VAT return period starting on or after the 1st of April 2019. So for example, if you have a February-May VAT return profile, you'll need to be compliant from the 1st of June. If you file monthly returns, you're going to need to be ready a lot sooner. HMRC has written to those businesses affected. If you've looked at the portal recently, you've probably seen this screen. It's important that you don't sign up too soon, unless, of course, that you are ready. You need to wait until the deadline has passed for your last VAT return under old rules and any associated payment has cleared. Once you've signed up, HMRC will contact you within 72 hours, and you must wait for this confirmation before submitting your next return. These are the steps that you'll need to undertake. The important message is that you've actually got more time for the registration with HMRC than you probably appreciate if you're on quarterly returns. The first step is ensuring that you have an MTD compliant software solution in place. For the sign-up process with the Revenue, you need to wait until the deadline has passed on your last non-MTD VAT return and any payment for this return has cleared before you sign up. Even if you pay by direct debit, you'll not be able to sign up until this payment has cleared. So for a March quarter end, your first return affected will be your June one. This means digital records need to be kept from the 1st of April, but you won't actually sign up until your March VAT return deadline has passed and any payment has cleared. Therefore, you're looking at mid-May at the earliest to actually sign up. Once you do sign up, you'll need to update your software settings to authorise the transmission of all future VAT returns to HMRC. This only needs to be done once, as settings will remain in place for the first and all future VAT submissions. Certain software packages are MTD compliant. Manual record keeping, i.e. ledger books, etc., are definitely not compliant. Where you're not using MTD compliant software or can't upgrade in time for April, then you're going to need a bridging solution, and Carl will be demonstrating how this will work. So bridging software is a digital tool to enable information from other applications that are not MTD compliant in themselves to be digitally submitted to HMRC. Spreadsheets can be used to calculate or summarise VAT transactions to arrive at the return information that you need to send. This is most helpful for those in VAT groups or those with non-standard applications or bespoke record-keeping systems. You will need MTD-compatible software so that you can send HMRC your returns and also receive information back from them. No software will be given out for free from the revenue. Generally, this is going to be where bridging software will come in. It creates that link between spreadsheets and the revenue. Benefits of using a bridging solution are that it delivers a cost-effective MTD compliant solution for businesses that use systems that are not compliant within themselves. It also provides an easy first step in the MTD compliance journey, and it requires limited changes to the current systems and processes that you have in place. It will also provide a dashboard view of MTD submissions, payments, and liabilities. So this is where I hand over to Carl, and Carl is now going to look at MTD from the process perspective.
Perfect. Thank you, Emma. What I will do before going into a demonstration, as Emma said, I just want to initially focus on how MTD will impact your specific processes. So if we start with what you probably are typically doing today. So we're speaking with a lot of our existing customers and understanding how they work, how they produce their VAT returns. And typically, this is the process they follow. In terms of they will have an accounting system or potentially multiple accounting systems where they store their data. At the moment, they're taking this information through a number of extracts or reports or even copying and pasting the information from their accounting system into Excel. This is where they are calculating the 9 boxes for their VAT return. And at the moment, they then would go into the government gateway, key in the 9 boxes and submit to HMRC. So for all of you following this process as of today, this will have to change for all returns starting on or after the 1st of April, or alternatively, if you do have a 6-month deferral to October, the same will apply from the 1st of October 2019. However, the first step you have to take is a relatively easy one. The current spreadsheet that you may well be using at the moment doesn't need a change. So you can continue to use your existing workbook. During the soft landing period that runs for a full 12 months from either April or October, the only element of your process that will change is how you submit the data to HMRC. So this is where our solution, AlphaBridge, comes in. AlphaBridge is a portal that you will log into. You'll be able to set up your entity, download a simple template, which you would then link to your existing workbook. And then once it's been linked to your existing workbook, you can click a button to submit that to HMRC. What we call is through what we call an API. So you probably hear the term API banded around a lot when people are talking about making tax digital. It stands for Application Programming Interface. And the easiest way to describe it, for those of you that don't know what an API is, it's simply if you were sitting in a room full of data and you wanted to pass that information to the room next door, an API is simply a door to the room. It allows you to open the door, pass through information, collect information as well, and then securely lock it afterwards. So on the portal, not only can you submit data to HMRC, you can also retrieve data from HMRC as well. So on the portal, you'll be able to see your payments, your liabilities, your future obligations, and also any previous MTD submissions that you have made. The process you see on screen will be compliant throughout the soft landing. However, after the initial 12 months, you also have to consider how you transfer data from your accounting system all the way through to HMRC. So as an example, if you were still using Excel, you would have to make sure the data from your accounting system is transferred in a digital format into Excel. So you cannot copy and paste, and you cannot key in information. However, what you can do, if you were taking reports out of your accounting system in a CSV format or an XLS format and linking it to your Excel workbook, that would be okay. That is a digital link. From speaking to our customers, where businesses may have different accounting systems or many different sources of information, compiling that data in one standardized format can sometimes be quite challenging and time consuming. So if this is a challenging area for you, you may wish to consider one of our solutions called AlphaLink. AlphaLink is basically a connector which allows you to connect to your accounting system, retrieve transactional data required for your VAT return, and then feed this information into Excel or into any other VAT applications that you may potentially be using. We currently have about 310, 320 live connectors at the moment. So if this is of interest, do let us know, and either Emma or myself can let you know if your existing accounts solution is on our list, and it's something we're adding to, and we're developing new connectors all the time. So as you see on the screen now, this is potentially what your process may look like either from April this year or from 2020, and this will keep you compliant well beyond the soft landing period. However, the most frequently asked question that I receive from customers is, when MTD goes live, is there any way of actually moving away from Excel? HMRC have clearly stated that they see spreadsheets as a high-risk area, and the same as auditors. When you do rely on spreadsheets, there is an inherent risk involved. Therefore, to assist our customers to move away from Excel altogether, we've also developed a solution called AlphaVAT. So AlphaVAT is a full end-to-end VAT compliance solution. And the way it works is you can feed data into the application via our solution, AlphaLink, or you can upload Excel files, CSV files if you'd like. You go through an initial mapping exercise. So the mapping exercise is a one-off process you complete, and it simply identifies the data you're uploading, and you're telling the system what it relates to. So you're basically bucketing the information, for example, your sales, your purchases, etc. Once you've mapped the information across, AlphaVAT will then complete and calculate the 9 boxes for you, ready for submission. Not only will it produce the 9 boxes, it will also allow you to drill in to particular figures, look at the underlying calculations to make sure the calculations and the information you've uploaded is correct and complete. So rather than spending your time manipulating data in Excel and manually checking large amounts of information, the system will automate all of this. So the time that you will spend will simply be reviewing the information that's there ahead of your submission. So I will show you 2 demonstrations today. Firstly, AlphaBridge, that will ensure your compliance from day one, and also AlphaVAT, something you may wish to consider further down the line ahead of 2020 when the soft landing period finishes. And moving away from VAT, very briefly, we know VAT is the first tax to be made digital. Other taxes will follow. Corporate tax will likely be next. When that will be, we're not 100%. However, our solutions are fully compatible with one another. So for those businesses using AlphaLink to retrieve data and feeding that into AlphaVat for their VAT process, if you manage your corporate tax in-house, or if you manage your corporate tax through Chesson Reeves, the same data can also be fed into your corporate tax solution, AlphaTax, which will keep you compliant for MTD on the corporate tax side as well. So it's just something to bear in mind looking a few years ahead. So I hope that all makes sense. What I'll do now, I'll just jump into a demonstration to show you what the portal looks like and talk you through the full end-to-end process. So you can see here, when you log in to the Chesson Reeves AlphaBridge portal, you'll select the login option and you will have your own username, your own email address and password. As standard, and much like you have with HMRC at the moment, we have a two-factor authentication process built into the sign-up. So you can either get a code sent to your phone, as I have, or you can get them to call you to authorize the login. So once you log in to the site, you will first have your entity management screen. So this is where you will manage the entities, the VAT registrations within your organization. We have a user management section as well. So depending upon the version that you license, if you need multiple users, you can set those up. And also what is key, we have a free helpline, a free support service included within all of our licenses. So we have documentation, videos, a help portal available. And also if you have any questions, you can always give us a call directly and we'll have someone on the other end of the phone who would be more than happy to help. And that support line is up UK business hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5:30, sorry. So to talk you through the process, the first thing that you would do is add an entity. So this is where you add in your company name. We have a sandbox environment with HMRC, so we can replicate the full end-to-end process. So what I will do, I have some dummy credentials that are provided from HMRC, which I will use for this demonstration, but you will put in your own VAT number. There's an option to create a demo entity, and this is something that we added on the last release, and it's available for all customers. This will allow you to create the demo entity and allow you to replicate the full end-to-end process without submitting data to HMRC. So it allows you to familiarize yourself with the solution, train yourself and your colleagues to make sure you're comfortable with how the system works ahead of going live. So we always recommend, always create a demo entity and do at least 1 or 2 dummy runs ahead of your first submission. However, I'll show you how to set up a live entity in this process. So what you'll have to do initially is add and authorize the entity. So this will, on the portal, you'll be able to go directly to HMRC's site, log in using your government gateway details. I have some dummy credentials here. And sign in. When you grant authority, it will be valid for 18 months. And this will allow you to submit data to HMRC, i.e. change your VAT information, and view your VAT information, i.e. look at your payments, your liabilities, etc. So once you click Grant Authority, this will be valid for 18 months. That entity will then be added to your main screen, and you'll be able to see the next period that is due and when that is due by. And this information will be directly from HMRC. The next thing you do, you simply click on the action button to download the AlphaBridge template. So you should see at the bottom of my screen, I've got the download, which is a simple Excel file. And this will contain the information that we need to submit to HMRC. So as you can see on the screen here, you have the VAT return details at the top. This is pulled through from the portal. And here are the 9 boxes that we're going to have to complete in order to submit that data to HMRC. So you can't type into these boxes, because that won't keep you compliant. We have to make sure there's a digital link between this spreadsheet and your existing workbook. So if I minimize this screen here, I've got a dummy example, a dummy spreadsheet that we can use for today. And this is really just to replicate the spreadsheet that you may be using at the moment. They don't have to be in this format, but basically look at this Excel calculation as the existing spreadsheet that you're using at the moment. You may have tabs across the bottom. You might have your VAT return information. As long as you have the 9 boxes somewhere on your spreadsheet, that is all you require. So what I'm going to do now is link these 9 boxes to my existing template. So if I split my screen here, all I do is I select box 1 on my spreadsheet, select equals, and then find box 1 on my spreadsheet. Again, equals on box 2, you find box 2 on your spreadsheet, and you just work down for all of the boxes. Again, there's not a complicated implementation process required. It literally takes 10 to 20 seconds to set these links up. And once you've done that, we now have a digital link between these 2 spreadsheets. If you wanted to, you can keep these spreadsheets separate. Alternatively, a lot of our customers would like everything in one single spreadsheet. Therefore, we've added a copy worksheet button to our template. This allows you to copy the links along with all of the numbers and the entire tab into your existing workbook. So I've just selected copy. If I minimize this screen, I can now see the workbook I had earlier has now got a final tab at the end containing the 9 boxes ready for submission. The next step, all you have to do is post to the AlphaBridge portal. This takes you back to the Chesson Reeves portal, and only the 9 boxes are linked across. The underlying data stays in your system. HMRC only ever see the 9 boxes, and then once you're happy to submit, you click the submit button, complete your final declaration, and select submit. You'll then receive a response from HMRC with your receipt ID and your submission information, and this will be recorded on the portal moving forward. So just to show you a demo entity here, to show you what you will see on your live example, once you've completed submissions, this will be recorded on your entity page. So you'll be able to see who made the submission and when, and the details of that. And also, you'll be able to look at any payments or liabilities for that entity. And all of this information is derived directly from your VAT account with HMRC. So that's an overview of AlphaBridge and how you can use a bridging solution to stay compliant from the mandatory deadlines in 2019. As you can see, there's not a huge change for your process. You can continue using your existing spreadsheet. It's just a case of setting up the entity on your portal, linking the template to your existing workbook, and then clicking a submit button to pull that through to HMRC. So after looking at AlphaBridge, I just want to briefly show you a very high-level overview of AlphaVAT, because that's what a lot of you may want to consider for later on down the line, and for those of you that do want to use MTD as an opportunity to move away from Excel altogether. So the first thing to note is AlphaVAT is built on the same portal as AlphaBridge. So the transition from AlphaBridge to AlphaVAT is very easy. It's exactly the same login, exactly the same look and feel. Simply you will have an additional option to open AlphaVAT rather than using AlphaBridge that we saw a moment ago. So you'd go into your entity, and if I click the Get Started option, I will talk you through the setup process that you will follow. So first of all, you will set your VAT calculation options. So this is to determine which modules of the system you require and what adjustments are relevant to you. So this is a demo example where we have an entity with a standard method partial exemption. So these options have been selected. On our live version, we have over 20 to 30 different flags. However, for this example, we try to keep it as basic as possible. So we've just shown a few options that are available. But regardless of the adjustments you are making, there will be an option for you. You will then upload the data. So if you are using a solution such as AlphaLink, you will have a live feed of information into this page. So if it's a single entity, the single entity information will be coming across. If you're doing a group VAT return, you can pull in data from all of your different entities into one central location. In this example, I have a number of CSV reports that I've pulled from our accounting system. So if you're not using AlphaLink, you can simply upload your pre-existing reports that you've already downloaded from your system. So you can see here, I've uploaded my purchase and sales ledger. So the system, you can upload as many files as you need to. So the first thing you do when you start the mapping exercise is tell the system what the files relate to. So I have a sales ledger and purchase ledger. Again, the team have kept this simple for demonstration purposes, but obviously the more files you upload, the more options you'll be able to select. The solution will now read the data in those files. Because you have the flexibility of uploading different formats of CSV file with different columns and different tabs, you will now need to determine where the VAT amount is. So which column in the workbook contains the VAT amounts. Here I've got net amounts, and the tax code in this case is identifying my exempt supplies. And I do exactly the same for the purchase ledger, simply identifying where the columns lie in the workbook. And here I've got another unique identifier being my cost center. So this is all a one-off exercise. So at this stage, I've uploaded the data, told the system what the files relate to, and told the system where the key identifiers are and where the key information lies within the workbooks. So now AlphaVAT has all the information it needs in order to calculate the 9 boxes. So you can see there's a bar across the top. The return is being processed. Takes up to 30 seconds depending on the complexity, but you can see how quick that was. So now we have the 9 boxes in a similar format to what you're used to seeing. If you're happy with that, you can simply submit straight away, but typically you would want to have a look at the underlying data. The benefit of technology or a system analysing and reviewing information over doing it manually is it can do the reviews much quicker than humans. So the system has looked through all of the transactions, and it identifies particular areas that it wants to draw your attention to. You'll have certain flags available. So here I can see boxes 6 and 7 have increased from the previous return, but I have a few warning indicators here which suggests I should further investigate this value. So I can drill down into box 4. So this will show me how my input VAT has been attributed across my domestic purchases. So I can see the taxable balance, the exempt supplies, and also the residual amount. Where appropriate, AlphaVat will also provide you with what we call summary insights. So a lot of the checks that HMRC do on their system, we can check ahead of your submission. So one of the checks HMRC will do is look at the VAT reclaimed in this period and compare it to the last return. So in this case, it's been a jump of 23%. Doesn't necessarily mean it's incorrect, but it's potentially an area that HMRC may look into. So we will draw your attention to that to allow you to review that information to make sure you're happy with it before submitting. Again, if you want to drill down into my residual balance to have a look at how the VAT's been calculated on this, you can look at my partial exemption calculation, being a fraction of my taxable supplies and my total supplies, giving me my recovery percentage, which has then been rounded up. And here we have the recoverable residual VAT at the bottom. So at this stage, you may identify adjustments that you need to apply, whether it's at the calculation level or even on the underlying data that you've uploaded. At this stage, you can re-upload the data from the accounting system, but more often than not, quite often when you do your VAT return, the previous quarter, the books have been closed, so you can't go back into the system to make any adjustments to that particular period. Therefore, where appropriate, you are able to make amendments within AlphaVat to, for example, change your tax code. And this is all in line with what is allowed by HMRC. So HMRC have stated you can make a certain number of manual adjustments, for example, with partial exemptions. If your tax code's incorrect, you can correct it in the system. And this system will keep a digital record of it and a full audit trail, which will keep you compliant. So if HMRC did have any queries or did carry out an audit, you would have all of the digital records that you require to stay compliant within this system. So once you've completed the review and you're happy with that, the submission process is exactly the same as it was before. You go back to the main page, you click on the submit button, and then you confirm the information is correct and complete. This is a demo entity, so data won't be submitted to HMRC, but a demo entity will still replicate the full end-to-end process. So you can see we have some dummy credentials that have been provided here, so you can see exactly what a live submission would look like. So I appreciate that's a very high-level overview, but hopefully it's given you an understanding of how you can stay compliant with AlphaBridge quite quickly and easily. And also further down the line, if you're looking at moving away from Excel, a solution such as AlphaVat will keep you compliant and help you maintain an efficient process moving forward. So what I'll do before we finish, I'll just pass back over to Emma, who will go through a few additional slides ahead of finishing, and then subject to the time we have left at the end, we can then clear any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Carl. Right. Okay, so hopefully that's given you all an insight as to what our solution looks like. Let's just get the technology here. Okay, so we've now got some time for a few questions. And one of the ones that we've had, which probably Carl might be best for you to answer, is just to clarify how the support for AlphaBridge is structured. Carl,
of course. Yes, sorry, I'll just mute myself. Yeah, so in terms of the way the support works, so all of our customers have free support available. So although you'll be accessing the Chesson Reeves portal, if anyone has any questions about the solution itself, there'll be a support number and email address on the portal, which will come directly through to our UK support team, and they'll be more than happy to help with any queries. Since we've released AlphaBridge, actually 90% of the questions aren't around how to use the system. It's how do we sign up to MTD, where do we go on HMRC's website, and we've been assisting those clients in those areas as well. At the same time, if you have any technical queries around MTD, you're not sure about the rules, etc., I would still recommend going directly to Chesson Reeves, because that's where their expertise lie, and there'll be Emma and the team will be more than happy to help from a technical perspective. But that support team in the UK, we're always here to help. So yeah, any of you can feel free to give us a call at any time.
Carl, we've also had a question around whether AlphaBridge is compliant after the soft landing period.
Yes, it is. So the bridging solution will keep you compliant throughout the soft landing and beyond. So you can continue to use it for years to come. After the soft landing, you just have to consider, if you are using Excel, how you transfer data between your accounting system and Excel. So if you have internal controls in place and you're not copying and pasting and you're maintaining a digital link between your accounting system and Excel, then yes, AlphaBridge will work well beyond the soft landing period.
Excellent. There's another one around what are the benefits of Alpha VAT over AlphaBridge, and how can the transition work practically?
So I guess one of the main benefits of moving over to Alpha VAT is it allows you to move away from Excel. So the risks involved with formula, manually maintaining Excel spreadsheets, which are looked at high risk from HMRC, allows you to drop that all together and automate a lot of the calculations. So it has a lot of controls built within the system, checks a lot of the information for you, provides you with insights, and allows you just to simply spend all of your time reviewing the information rather than manipulating it. The transition to AlphaBridge, from AlphaBridge to Alpha VAT, is actually very, very easy to do. It's all on the same portal, so it can quite easily be turned on the system, so you can easily transition over. The areas I would consider is what your source data looks like. From the businesses that we're working with, using Alpha VAT is very straightforward and very easy. The mapping exercise is easy, but actually making sure the source data is correct and data has been input into your accounting system correctly, that's what takes time. So around that area, helping you ensure you've got the correct data to feed into the system, that's something that we would typically work alongside clients and assist them with that process. So whether it's ourselves or Chesson Reeves, we can assist you with a number of workshops to look at your process in more detail and advise you how you can improve your source data to make sure you have an efficient process moving forward. So we can do a number of workshops along the way to help you with that implementation. Having said that, they're not compulsory. So if you do have everything in place, you don't have to rely on us to get you up and running. It's something that is completely optional, but from the customers we've been working with, there's been great value in that area.
Excellent, thank you, Carl. Okay, so I think the last question that we'll answer right now, we've had a few other questions come in, so we'll cover those off after the session. We've had a few people ask kind of what the next steps are, how to go ahead with this solution, which takes us nicely to the next step slide. So firstly, you need to check whether your current software provider is compliant and identify if you need a bridging solution. If you're unsure, obviously, please do speak with us for advice. If you do need a bridging solution, then please contact ourselves at Chesson Reeves. The contact details are there, or speak to your usual Chesson Reeves contact, and we'll be sending the slides and recording of today's webinar for those that have provided their email addresses as a follow-up, and we'll try to get back to everyone else on the other questions that we've had. So thank you very much.